America's favorite pastime in terms of college baseball is now back in session, and more specifically, Auburn baseball. It's time to drop some predictions for how we think they're going to do in this 2023 season. Before we do that, though, make sure you smash that like button if you enjoy this type of content, and be sure to leave a comment down below as you're watching or listening today. It will help enter you into that ongoing subscriber giveaway for a signed Auburn football prize package. Details are listed in the description link. And lastly, I want to thank members of our booster club like Brian Fulcher, who help produce videos like this. I'm going to spare you all me singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game, which I'm sure you're all happy with. But despite that, let's talk about predictions as related to college baseball and Auburn baseball. I love offering these up because we just get to have fun with it. And chances are I'm going to be terrible at this because I do know Auburn baseball. I know college baseball just enough to be deadly, but not that well to probably be really good at these predictions. So what I'm going to do is I divided the schedule up in about 3 different parts here. We're going to walk through those. I'm going to give you what I think is going to be the ultimate record at the end of this. And obviously we'll go through those 3 parts just to kind of break it up a little bit so it's not so long and confusing with 53 total games on the year. So here we go. So this very first part right here you're going to see listed is the majority of the non-conference play for Auburn baseball. Now there is some midweek games that'll happen during conference play, but this is the bulk of it right here. And you can see right from the start that I have predicted a very decent start for Auburn baseball. Now, let me go ahead and say this. You will see wins and losses listed next to the game. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win game 3 of this particular series or lose game 2 of that series. I'm just predicting how many wins I think we'll get within that series, or if it's an individual game, a win. So looking at this thing, you can see I'm predicting us to win the Indiana series, only taking 1 loss there, to win the USC series out on the road in California, and really to only take 1 more loss to Jacksonville State on the road. Now, every once in a while, not just Auburn, but any team will drop a midweek game when their pitching rotation is not in its full swing, that you're trying other people in that role for a midweek start. So sometimes that can kind of play a little bit odd with how things will work out in the game. So that's why I usually predict some of these lower tiered teams. I hate saying that.
It's hurtful.
Truthful.
But, lower conference teams beating us in a midweek game. Now we got part 2 of the schedule, and we are in to the SEC side of things here. And boy, does it get tough. Look at it right here, what I predicted. You can see all those L's that I'm predicting in this portion of the season. And I feel like this mirrors very similarly with last season too, where we got into the season, got off to a hot start, I think, in SEC play, if I remember correctly, but then got into the gauntlet, and it got a little tough, which I think you'll see it happens in what I'm predicting here. Now, there's a nice little win streak there that we have going on at the end of the Arkansas series, all the way down to North Alabama. We sweep Georgia is what I'm predicting. We win the Alabama series on the road, but when you've got series on the road against number 5 Texas A&M, that one's at home, you still lose that one. Number 7, Florida on the road. Number 8, Arkansas on the road. It's really tough to get out of this thing barely over 500, which in this group right here, I predicted 10-9. And part 3 of the schedule, the last of conference play, with obviously those midweek games with some non-conference opponents mixed in. A much more productive and successful back end of the schedule, which I predicted here at 13-6 overall for this portion of it. Some signature wins there, winning the Mississippi State series, sweeping Missouri at the very end, a very strong finish if you look at it that way, but losing the Ole Miss series, going on the road and winning the South Carolina series, which they're currently ranked right now, but you've got that number 1 currently ranked LSU that you're going to run into, probably going to be a bit of a buzzsaw. So still challenging, but a little bit more success that I'm predicting on the back third of the Auburn 2023 schedule. So overall, what I predicted, 37-18. And if I've done the math right, and if I remember correctly, this is the exact same record that Auburn had in 2022 on their magical run to the College World Series. Now, I didn't intend to have it happen that way. I honestly kind of forced myself not to pick a few more losses. So I'm probably on the generous side here. And I really hope that I'm even more wrong in the positive direction, that we're going to have a better year. But this was me kind of finding that balance between being cautious, but also optimistic. So 37-18. I think that probably for me also means that Auburn's going to make it to the College World Series playoffs, obviously the full tournament. Will they be a host regional like they were last year? That kind of puts them on the fence. They were the 14th seed overall, and that was one of the last few ones to get a host site. So that's going to kind of put them on the fence. Regardless, I think they make the tournament. I think they'll probably at least move on to the second round if they get a good enough seeding in that tournament, whether they're a host or not. I think this team's got the talent to maybe surprise some people this year. Now, I'd love to know from you, based off of what I predicted and what you saw there, anything that you agree with, anything that you disagree with. I mean, what's your record prediction if you want to count them all up, 53 total games? Let me know down there in the comments section below. Be sure to do that because it enters you into that ongoing subscriber giveaway. And hey, you need to be subscribed so that you can be part of that giveaway. So make sure you've taken care of that angle too. Lastly, check out those links in the description for ways that you can help support us here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. War Eagle.